too close. I don't want y'all in my face. Oh, that's good. It's a little low though. All right. Ooh, hey now. Hope all is well with you. I am Leslie of Leslie Creations, coming to you from my workroom. Hooty hoo. So today I thought I'd do a video. I'm just going to be talking. It's because it's something that I deal with kind of often. And I figured that if I do this video, it could help you when you are searching out for somebody to do some work for you, sewing, and maybe kind of stop. Anyway, I'm gonna get into it. So I have been a designer, seamstress, creator of fashion for many years, and for the longest my bread and butter actually was alterations. I kind of fell into doing alterations. First it was just doing hems. Hems is nothing to me, and I would do them no problem. And then it got to the point where some people needed like something sized down a little bit, maybe because they lost some weight, and it just didn't fit like they wanted it to fit. So I learned to deconstruct and reconstruct a lot of different garments. And along the way, I have learned what I don't like to alter and what you should not alter, as well as the price and cost it takes to do the alterations. So mind you, all of it was a learning process for me, and many people can actually do alterations if they have what's the word I want to say, I guess a detailed mindset would probably be the word. Now, alterations is not for everybody, and not everybody can do alterations. A lot of people can do certain parts of alterations, but depending on how detailed it is, depends on how far or how skilled they will be. For me, some things that I have learned through the process is how to kind of guide the people that I do alterations for, so that they don't make some crucial mistakes when purchasing a garment and having it altered afterwards. Most people actually hit me up before they make their purchase. Those who have gotten alterations from me, they hit me up before they purchase something. And the reason why they do is because they've learned that certain things ain't worth altering. Certain things are actually more difficult if you don't do it a certain way. All right, so a scenario. I wish I had something that I've done an alteration on so I can kind of give you some visual of it, but I don't. So when you purchase, let's say, a dress, it doesn't matter whether it's a ready-to-wear or a suit dress or something like that. When you purchase a dress specifically, or a pair of pants or something, what you want to do is, if you are two different sizes, me, 18 on top, 24 on bottom, it's a killer trying to get a dress bought for me, okay? So what you do is purchase the dress or garment for the fullest part of your body. That will eliminate a lot of your struggles, okay? And I know you're like, what? Get it for the fullest part of your body. Because what most garments have is they have very little room to add. Or if you want to add it, it's usually difficult because the fabric is hard to find. Excuse me. Fabric's hard to find, or there's not enough fabric in the garment to be able to shift it somewhere else. But it's always easier to go down a size. So if you get it for the fullest part, so if you are like a G cup and a 44G, well, if you get it for the diameter of your bust area and your hips fit in the area, then you're perfect. Then it's easier to sit and tailor the dress down to fit your body than to try to figure out how to get room or get coverage for your bust area. Now, sometimes in certain situations, you have no choice. I did a made a bridesmaid dress. I had to think a bridesmaid dress. My client had it was one of the dresses that she had to purchase overseas because it was the design that the bride wanted for the wedding. So she ordered it this time. She ordered it without talking to me. She ordered the dress and it came back. And then she sent me the foolery of the dress. The dress was too short because it's the way they measure it. The dress was too short. It did not cover her bust area at all. And it fit odd. Meaning it's the way they set things set at. I think she asked for some kind of adjustment or something, and they put the adjustment or the length in the wrong spot. And I'm like, okay. And she had no heels on for this particular dress when she sent me the picture. So of course I said, why'd you do that? Why didn't you call me first? You should have called me first before you purchased. Because I never try to stop my clients from buying something. I always try to help them to make the best buy for them so that they don't have to do as much work or spend as much money. I'm just a person who don't like to waste money. That's just me. Especially when you can avoid it. Well, anyway, so like I said, the dress didn't cover her boobage at all. Like, it covered enough, like the nipple area, but it didn't cover the enough in order for her to be able to comfortably wear this dress. Well, she reordered, and of course I had to do alterations on it, but this time it was way less work to do the alterations. One, because she's tall anyway, I made sure they added an additional 6 inches to the hem, and I'm very specific as to where. I know she probably was like, huh? Be very specific on telling them this because they will put the length in the wrong place. So she didn't need no length in her torso area, but she needed length at the hem, and I knew that. So she added for an additional 6 inches at the hem line. Then she would avoid having a situation where it's too short. So we did that, and I think we went up like literally only one size. And it gave her more boob coverage. Now I still had to do some modification because it's still too much skin showing because she's a modest girl and she didn't want everything gifted to the rest of the world. So I still had to do some modifications, but because we had the other dress, I was able to hide a lot of the stuff that I needed to hide. Excuse me. Y'all don't know why I'm yawning. I slept last night. So that is one thing you need to make sure you consider when you purchase a dress, wherever you purchase it from. If you can't try it on before, make sure that the fullest part of your body is the part that you make sure you cover. Make sure. And that's just one situation, okay? Now, of course, there's many other situations that happen with alterations that maybe you never thought of. One thing, the other thing I kind of like to tell people before you purchase a dress, make sure you contact or talk to somebody who's going to do your alteration first, because they may or may not be skilled enough to be able to do that project. Because not everybody knows everything and knows how to do everything. Some people specialize in one area versus another. But I will tell you that what you need to know is exactly what you want the alteration to look like. Currently, right now, I've probably put up a couple posts talking about removing boning in a prom dress and doing some work on it. And I usually ask for references or ideas of what you want to add into your dress or change on your dress. I like those. It's not saying that I copy those. It's just that I need an idea of what you in your mindset are looking for. It is imperative that you give all information to the person who's doing the alteration. That means if you desire for the dress to be fuller, make sure if you have a picture, don't send a picture of a trumpet style dress and it's laying on the ground and say you want a fuller dress. That's not going to give you the same look. Don't send a picture showing that the dress is laying on the floor, but you want your train on your dress to be 10 feet long. Send a picture or be able to articulate fully what you're looking for. I say that for this reason. When you are working on a project, if you're not explaining well, the type of material I purchase affects the look of the dress, affects the style of the dress. That is very imperative. So I wish I had something close to be able to explain to you. Explain. I don't think I have anything. What is this? Of course here. It's driving me nuts. I really want to explain it so it makes good sense. Let me see. This kind of help. Okay. All right. So this will kind of help. I wish I knew where my other one was. Hold on. Oh. All right. This is going to be the best way I can kind of explain it so that it may make sense to those who are trying to learn how to sew and maybe learn how to do alterations. So what you use depicts on how the dress is going to flow and sit and move. Okay? So for me, and I'm just using these two just so that you can get an idea. So this is horsehair. Horsehair is an item that you can use to actually help to craft hats. Actually, I've seen it used in crafting facets for your hair. I've seen it in hems of garments. Where else I've seen it? I've seen it where they've constructed a dress using horsehair. It just depends on what you're doing, okay? But I want to explain there is two different types of horsehair. You may get one and they'll say soft horsehair or hard horsehair. So this is a soft one. This is soft. See how it kind of just collapses really easily? So this will give some body to a dress without giving too much body. Like if you wanted to still move a lot, it will give some body without being so rough and tough, okay? So this is one horsehair. This is hard horsehair. Let's see if I can find the end so I can kind of show y'all. trying to keep it because I pulled it out because I'm going to put it on the dress. That's why it's like this. Alright, so this is a hard version of horsehair. Hard version. See, it doesn't collapse as easily. It's really stiff in comparison. It almost stands straight up, okay? Whereas this one, if you look at it, it will almost fall. Now, as you can tell, I hope this is making sense to y'all. Both of them are horsehair, but both of them don't bend the same way. They don't bend the same way. One, like, intentionally wants to stay straight, this one. And this one kind of bends. See? It's the life of it. Stiffer, softer. And it depends on the look and effect that you want. Depends on what it's going to turn out to be. And a lot of times, if you don't explain to the person who is doing your alteration or fixing your dress, if you don't explain to them what you are really looking for, they end up purchasing the wrong product to fix your dress. So if you, like, there is, the one thing I'm doing for the dress is I am using regular tulle, which is really a lightweight, more flimsy kind of material, which is fine for the hem of the dress. But there's another material that is called netting, but it's a stiff version. And the stiff version means you don't use as much. Whereas with the tulle, you have to use a lot of layers to get the fullness effect. Hope that makes sense. So make sure when you, sorry for the light flickering or whatever it's doing. Now I don't know why I keep on doing that. So if you are looking for a certain effect, make sure you explain this to the person who is doing your alteration as to how you really want it done. It makes a difference and it affects the cost. That's where we're going into now, the cost. So when you want to work with tulle, the regular lightweight version of tulle, which I do have a video kind of explaining each level of tulle and how it will act. I know I gotta figure out which one it's in, and I'll probably tag it into this video. But depending on how much you need, depending on which tool you use, depends on how much you're going to need as far as material wise. So for me, with the tool, you tend to use a lot of layers, not just one or two. You're going to use to get a nice fullness. You may use it could be like 20 yards. Oh, so sorry. It could be like 20 yards to do this. Well, when you working and doing like 20 yards is 20 yards. Versus with the stifter version, you may only need to use 5. But if you don't want to see through your dress, then you're going to need the 20-yard version. The price point for the netting, the 5-yard version, may be about $3 or $4 a yard, depending on where you're going. I'm just giving a price, 3 or 4 yards. So you're only doing 5 yards, okay? 5 yards at, let's say, $4. That's $20 for that. But if you need 20 yards and it's $2 a yard, that's $40. See price point difference? Less over here, but has an effect, but you can see through it. Over here, you double the price, but you have more coverage and you don't see much of the feet. That makes a difference on the effect of the dress. It affects how much you pay. So you can't expect to have, if you send a thing, you say, well, I want the dress to be fuller. Explain how full. You want it to be see-through or not see-through. Questions are asked, and I do tend to ask a lot of questions when I am doing alterations for somebody. But if you only give me part of your vision, I can only create part of what you want. So if somebody turns around and says, well, that's going to be another $200, and you be like, but why? I told you this in the beginning. Nope. Fuller, you have to explain. The dress is fuller. Fuller is relative. It's not, doesn't tell me anything. Fuller doesn't tell anybody anything. Fuller doesn't tell anybody anything. You can say fuller, and I've created a fuller look because it's no longer the same as it was in the beginning. But because you didn't say you didn't want to see through the dress, fuller and seeing through the dress is two different things. I did the fuller part. I did do. But if you sit up there and say, well, later on when I send you a picture of the fuller look, you say, oh, that's not what she wanted. But you didn't send a picture of the fuller look that you were thinking. People, you can't assume what people are thinking. And even as a fashion designer, I think one way, you think another. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're supposed to be doing an alteration and they didn't explain to you. And then you have to go back and do double work because they didn't explain it to you. You only can do but so much. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is sometimes people want a gas at the price you put on alterations. It could be more than it costs to actually make the garment. They may have paid, let's say, $200 for their dress. Well, their alterations with materials and time could cost them maybe $300 or $400. And somebody will have a conniption fit with that. People forget that when you are doing an alteration, depending on what it is, you may have to deconstruct a lot of the dress before you can recreate the dress. So that's why sometimes it's actually better to start off with the dress in the beginning. Start off making it from beginning to end because of the fact of the time it takes for you to sit up there and do all those alterations. Because it's not just altering where it is, it's stripping it back to a certain point and then going forward. So let's say so you're building a house, and as you're building the house and you putting these bricks on the house and you laying the outside of the house, you done built the frame, put the frame all up, it's nice and good. You haven't put the wires in yet, but you built the frame, and then you brick in the house, and the house is already bricked in, and then you sit up there and get to the point where you're getting ready to do the electrical, so you put the electrical in and everything. And they do all this work. And they put the drywall up. But they forgot to put the vent in for the dryer to be able to go on the outside. Somebody failed to do something. So what do they have to do to get that dryer vent back on the outside of the house? They had to deconstruct. They had to take out certain parts of the wall. They have to move some of the electrical. They have to sit up there and cut a hole through the wall, go to the outside and remove the brick wherever that brick is. That is no different than what a person who's doing a proper alteration has to do. They have to remove all these pieces, all these things out of their way in order to get to the problem to fix it. So always be prepared. Don't expect that alterations are cheap. Don't expect alterations are easy. Don't expect to get the alteration tomorrow. That's something that's probably been on my heart and on my mind more than once. A lot of people want to get it like that soon, but there is a process. And for me, my process probably is a little longer than most, because before I actually physically touch a garment, I am actually trying to imagine where the best place to do the alteration, the best place to sit up there and fix it so that nobody ever knows you had it altered. I am very meticulous when it comes to alterations because I want it to look as if you got it from the store originally in that manner, that you never had anything adjusted. That's me. That's how I do things. I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I do things. So, y'all, this is my rant for today. I hope you watch the entire video. Make sure you drop a comment below. Make sure you, even if you've had a situation like this, tell me about it so we can talk more about how to sit up there and help people who get alterations done, get them done right. Drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of the video. I probably can talk more about this because this is something that I do. It's something I loved in the past. I stopped doing it so much, and that could be whole nother video, y'all. A whole nother video. Maybe I'll tell y'all the next time. So much love to you all. Hope y'all have an amazing day. You go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will catch you all the next time. Leslie of Blessing Creations. Deuces.